Good evening, and welcome to the 2025 Oregon Track Club Annual Meeting. I think you guys are going to have a heck of a good time tonight. I know I plan on having one as well. I wanted to start off for a second, and there's a long-standing record in track and field. It dates back all the way to 1976, and it is the longest standing record, either world, American, collegiate, or high school. And this record has stood the test of time for years. Can anybody name the holder of that record, that 48? Yes, Greg. You are correct. Rudy Chapa, get up. Come on, stand up. Rudy Chapa, 48-year record. And Greg, you win the prize. So congratulations to Greg Irwin, and he did that really quick. I had Matt Barnhart on standby in case he didn't. But you'll see Rudy there on the left, and Tim Keogh in the middle, and then Carrie Pinskowski, who many of you may remember is the Chicago Marathon race director. They were the number 1, 2, and 4 high school 2-milers in the country in 1975, and they all came from one high school, Hammond High School in Indiana, right near Gary, Indiana, right, Rudy? Right near Gary, Indiana. So congratulations to the success of all three of those professionally, and especially Rudy, who's here. You're going to hear from him later tonight. You're going to hear right now from our intrepid president, Erin Regali, who gives of her life to this organization. She has been with OTC since 2002. She was secretary for her first 10 years in the saddle, and then president one term 2013, 14, and 15, and then back at it in 2024 and 2025. And let's give a warm welcome to our president, Erin Regali.
All right, thank you, Tom. First of all, just want to welcome everybody tonight. I always get very excited for this evening just to gather and celebrate track and field. One of the things I want to do is start by introducing the leadership team of OTC. Tom Fuhr is vice president. So please stand. John Truax is past president. Jennifer Touche is secretary. Molly Jackson, treasurer. Emily Forche and Danny Bowman on the executive team as well, and then our office administrators over there, Ann and Jane Regali, my sweet daughters over there. Tom runs a tight show, so just real brief. Tonight, we're here to celebrate our past, present, and future. I am always amazed by the history of OTC. It was founded in 1957, the Emerald Empire Athletic Association. In 65, the name changed to Oregon Track Club. We have a plaque in our office, and some of the founders of the club were Les Anderson, Wayne Atwood, Bill Bowerman, Dale Bruger, Ralph Christensen, Mert Heaton, Ray Hendrickson, John Jaquia, and Abe Johnson. Just led by many great individuals that created the mission of the club and for our community. As I prepared and thought about tonight, I looked at the guest list, and there are many past presidents in the room, so stand up, please. John Truax, past president. Bill Kelly, past president. Kerry Westland, Mike Olson, Greg Irwin, and Frank Lulich. All are past presidents of the club. All of them great mentors to me, and I learned a ton from them all as we navigate the club and our community. So Oregon Track Club's mission is to grow the legacy of Eugene's historic track and field community. We welcome people of all ages, youth, elites, masters, and community members. We strive to get involved in the track and field experiences by whether we're watching, volunteering, or participating in events. We're a club that is for everyone. We're a community-based approach, grassroots, and we deliver opportunities that develop the sport of running and track and field in our community. We couldn't do it without all our community partners, and we will hear about them this tonight. And so together, we all make a difference. And so one thing that sort of struck me is this past year, Oregon Track Club celebrated our 50th anniversary of the Butte to Butte. Thank you, William and his team, for that amazing event. We had about 4,600 people participate in the Butte to Butte. And then this year, we're helping to celebrate 50 years of the pre-classic. Together with Tracktown, with the rich history of that event, we will be able to tell the story of the pre-classic in our community. And so we're really proud to be a part of that. So I hope you enjoy the evening. And Molly Jackson.
I'm fighting a cold, so I'm not going to talk very long. There are budgets, the new budget. I'm here to introduce the budget. The new budgets are on the tables. When we sat down to talk about budgeting this year, we decided to take a harder look at some things than we have in years past, because when 2020 happened, we sort of lost the momentum of this year's events paying for next year's things. And so we've sort of taken a step back and really looked at what all of our events cost, ways to make them bigger, better, bring in more money with fewer dollars. So you're gonna see more opportunities to volunteer. You're gonna see more opportunities to donate, sponsor. Basically, we just want everyone to participate, and we're trying to keep our costs down to participate. So we're gonna really think about all the money we're spending this year. So I told you I wasn't gonna talk very long. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions about the budget, I think you can find my contact information on the website. I always am willing to answer questions.
I got this. Thank you, Molly. Geez, I think I saw Simeon Birnbaum come in without sunglasses on. Is that right? Yeah, I think. Where's the sunglasses? Yeah, okay. Anyway, moving on. Sandy Pashkin, where are you? All right, Sandy Pashkin, longtime member of OTC. She runs our nominating committee. She's going to do all of what the nominating committee does tonight. And Sandy, I'm turning it over to you. Go get them.
On behalf of the nominating committee, it's your responsibility as members of Oregon Track Club to elect our board. And so on behalf of the nominating committee, I would like to present our board. If you look on the tables on the back of your program, we have the members of the board that were members last year. And if your name is there, and I'd ask you to stand, please. We have lots of board members. Stand, please. Thank you. We have two new board members, Kelly Sullivan and Jessica Ubel. Will you stand, please? They're over here. And we also have an advisory board listed below that, and we have a new member, Justin Knight. Please stand, and the rest of the advisory board. And we also have two new people for lifetime members, and that's Bill Kelly and Larry Norris. Please stand. Okay, thank you very much. Now I need someone to, we're just nominating them, so I need someone to elect them. Do I have a motion to that effect? So moved. Second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Congratulations, everyone.
Thanks. Nice job. Okay. Youth initiatives are a big part of our track club. John Truax, Danny Bowman, Aaron Regali have been a big part in driving our youth initiatives. But I want to say one thing. This year we're going to have a parent that comes up and speaks about the youth initiatives, but it would be unfair of me not to mention this parent's grandfather, Bob Newland Sr., who for 28 years was a meet director at Hayward Field. He supervised 3 Olympic trials in 72, 76, and 80, 3 NCAA champs, and 2 AAU championships at Hayward Field. He was inducted into the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame in 1988. He coached Medford High School to 9 state titles in 10 years from 1948 to 1957. The assistant manager of the 1976 U.S. men's Olympic team, and you might have heard Aaron talk about the Emerald Empire Athletic Association, which was the predecessor to the Oregon Track Club, and Bob Newland founded that with Ray Hendrickson and Bill Bowerman. And we're going to show a video on all of our youth initiatives, but coming up after that ends will be Bill Newland, Bob Newland Sr.'s grandson, and what great way to pass on the lineage of Oregon Track Club than to have Bill Newland speak about what the youth programs have meant to his children. So we're going to roll the video, and then Bill Newland will come up. Thank you. Bill Newland up.
Thank you. Yeah, who's going to come stand with me?
Do you want him to speak?
No.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that nice introduction, and that video it makes me smile. Just all the kids in our community getting out there, running, moving their bodies, smiling, laughing, and having fun with each other. So as Tom mentioned, my name's Bill Newland, and I appreciate the opportunity to come up here and share what OTC, the youth initiatives, mean to our family, and what it means to the Newland family. I have here beside me Bobby Newland. Bobby is a 7th grader at St. Paul School here in town, and Bobby participates in OTC cross country, track and field, the all-comers meets. We've run 2 Butte to Buttes together, and as of last summer, Bobby is no longer going to be running with me because he is way faster and beats me by a couple of minutes per mile. Bobby's younger brother Will, who's a sixth grader at St. Paul, and his sister Caroline also participated in cross country this last fall, have run the Butte to Butte, and participate in track and field and the all-comers meets. Through their involvement in OTC, my children have grown to love track and field, and in the process, and with the help of the OTC coaches and the organization, have developed confidence, grit, and determination. Bobby, Will, and Caroline are the fourth generation, and Tom kind of alluded to this, of our involvement in OTC. My grandfather, as Tom mentioned, Bob Sr., was a founding member of OTC along with Ray Hendrickson and Bill Bowerman and other former Oregon track and field legend. My grandmother, Carolyn, used to make the ribbons for all the all-comers meets in the kitchen of my grandparents' home. My dad, Bob Newland, who many of you knew, was involved with OTC all-comers meets when he was a youth. He ended up playing football with the University of Oregon, ran in some track meets while he was at Oregon, and then finished his career playing at the New Orleans Saints. When he moved back to town, he was a longtime OTC board member and was on the board until just a few years before he passed away. My wife, Christina, also ran track and field and cross country while she was at the University of Oregon, and she was on the board at OTC for several years and also served as treasurer. And I also competed in all-comers meets when I was growing up at the historic Hayward Field. Needless to say, the Newland family has a lot of history with the Oregon Track Club. And I'd just like to say that my grandfather would be just so proud and blown away at how long the track club has stayed in place, the organization that always takes place at all of its events, and just with what a rich legacy and how much OTC contributes to our community and the youth in our community. As a parent, I just appreciate what Oregon Track Club is, how encouraging it is to our youth. We encourage our children's friends to participate in cross country and come out to the all-comers meets in the summer. And the kids are always encouraged to work hard, to have fun, to compete, and to move their bodies in healthy ways. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that OTC does for our community, the legacy that you all are, all of the volunteers, and everything that you give to the kids in Eugene Springfield. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill Newland. Thank you. And Bobby, thank you. Nice job. Roll the video.
This is not your normal track and field. You know the feeling. Hair-raising, chill-inducing moments of pure athletic excellence. It's a shared experience, a timeless connection between athletes, performances, and people. A home for everyone to live out their childhood dreams. Countless memories have brought us here. A rare instant when past, present, and future collide. A celebration of legacy, community, ambition, and innovation. A story that we all play a part in. You already have a new circle on your calendar. This year, we're pulling out all the stops. Come experience the 50th Prefontaine Classic.
How about that video? Wow. Every time I see that, it just stirs my blood. And the CEO of that organization, who's been there since 2012, former University of Oregon assistant AD, the Stanford director of track and field operations, assistant coach at Stanford, an academic All-American, and he got his BS in symbolic systems. And Michael Riley, if you could tell us what symbolic systems is, that's the first question, but take it away. Michael Riley, everybody.
I'd be happy to tell you, Tom, but you only gave me 6 minutes, so we don't have enough time for that. Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here this evening and share with you some of the plans for the 50th anniversary of the Prefontaine Classic. As you can see from that video, celebrations for this year are already underway. And my gratitude for that excellent piece goes to 3 very talented creators on our team, Annie Boos, Tyler DeWard, and Jake Willard, and to the most athletically accomplished voiceover actor ever, Cole Hawker, who was kind enough to lend his voice and his talent to that video. My favorite line that Jake wrote in that piece is, "It's a timeless connection between athletes, performances, and people." And we'll be celebrating all 3 this year, establishing a link from the present to the past. And we've already started celebrating some of those great moments from Allison Felix, Hisham El Garouche, Eliud Kipchoge, and Alan Webb. And in the coming months, you'll recognize the great people who have built the Pre-Classic into the #1 meet in the world. Names and central pillars of the Oregon Track Club, like Tom Jordan, Barbara Kowski, Gary and Jules Triguero, Kathy Tuimi-Belli, Bob Newland Sr. Meet referees like Mike Olson and Dennis Olafson, and key officials like Bill Kelly, Sandy Pashkin, Jennifer Plouse, and of course, Wade Bell. You can enjoy the next 5 months of celebration by following the Pre-Classic on Facebook or Instagram. They'll be dropping every week. The team has been going back through the archives. We really think you're going to have a great time watching those things. But in celebrating our past, we'll be simultaneously focused on building a bridge to the future. And so tonight, I'm pleased to announce several initiatives that are intended to grow and nurture new fans. We think there are an awful lot more Bobby, Will, and Caroline Newlands out there, and we'd love to see them in that stadium. On Wednesday, July 2nd, we'll be partnering with Oregon Track Club to offer a special Pre-Classic edition of the OTC All-Comers Meet. OTC will conduct its 12 and under edition on that evening, and the Pre-Classic has committed to bringing out all the bells and whistles we can find. The stadium will be fully dressed out in the anniversary gold and black of the pre-50th anniversary. The LED boards will already be installed around Lane 9 and lit up and in full function. We're bringing in the camera operators and the video board production crew so that every smile of those kids can be shown on that giant experience board on the north end. We hope to give every one of those kids and their families a real Pre-Classic experience at Hayward Field. On Thursday night, we're bringing back the Night of Miles. Once again, we'll provide a free opportunity to run a mile under the lights at Hayward Field. And this year, we're placing a really particular emphasis on getting more families to run and walk a mile together. What could be better than getting a ton of families moving together at Hayward Field? Well, I actually have an answer to that. Getting those same families to move together at the OTC Butte to Butte on Friday morning, July 4th. And I'm here tonight pledging our commitment to helping OTC set an all-time record for participation in the Butte to Butte this year. It's a tall order, but together I'm confident that we can get more than 6,000 runners to the starting line on that morning. Let's do it together. Co-meet directors Jody Smith and John Capriati have been working hard to build the greatest matchups and live to the standard that Tom Jordan created, the best fields ever. and you'll begin hearing about some of those superstars next week. Tickets are going on sale to the public on February 12th, and to celebrate the 50th anniversary, we've lowered general admission ticket prices to $25. Fun fact, the price for the first Prefontaine Classic in 1975 was $5. If you ask the interweb to convert $5 in 1975 to today's dollars, the electrons will tell you that that price is $29.35. You can go to pre-50 for less than it costs to go to pre-1, and we're pretty excited about that. But that's not the best part for each of you. Some of you I know are longtime customers, and you may have been receiving notifications from us about being in one of the priority access groups. And if you're looking to buy one of those really hard-to-get seats, in those reserved seats on the home stretch, and that's where you want to sit, please definitely take advantage of those offers. But if you're looking for the best deal, and as a salesperson, I can't believe I'm saying this, don't act now. Because we've got a special offer coming exclusively for members of the Oregon Track Club. Later this winter, we'll be offering OTC members an exclusive opportunity to buy a general admission ticket with special access to the lower bowl on the south turn for only $15. We'd love to see a wave of green OTC shirts on that south turn, congratulating all the athletes when they've crossed the finish line. We think it's a great lineup of things to happen in the anniversary edition this year. So what's my ask of each of you? Get a friend to join the Oregon Track Club and sit with you at pre-50 for just $15. Let's get more people to appreciate the value in becoming a member of the Oregon Track Club. Get that friend to join you in going out to the Butte to Butte and participating there. Let's set that all-time record this year. Encourage parents to bring their kids to the all-comers meet on Wednesday night and all the all-comers meets throughout the summer. Let's put 1,000 smiles on the video board on that Wednesday. And finally, I ask you to follow the Pre-Classic on Instagram or Facebook so you can smile along with us as we celebrate 50 years of the Prefontaine Classic, a meet worthy of the name. Thank you.
Welcome inside the runnerspace studio, everyone, as we get set for the first night of high-performance action.
Welcome back to the Oregon Relays. These guys lit the Olympic torch early because this gear is fire, baby.
All right, that's another great event for us. The impresario, the man that puts the Oregon Relays together, the guy behind runnerspace and athletic.net. He's the Bill Graham, if those of you know concert promotion and music. He's the Bill Graham of our sport. But many of the people in this room, other than Jada, and so glad to see you again, are distance runners, middle distance runners, well, mostly long distance runners. This young man was an 11-14 100-meter man in high school, 22:30, 48:83, 154.03. He was not so good at the 1500, 4:16.30. Now, in college, he improved to 48:20. Simeon, you thirsty? You good? Okay. 48:20, 149.76 in the 800. Still not such a good 1500, 4:03.69. But he's done an incredible job with runnerspace, athletic net, and the Oregon Relays. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Ross Krempley.
Those stats were way off. 10.9 in high school. 1500. Hey, I'm gonna fix that later tonight. 1500 only because I was forced to do it one time, and I hated it. All right, you always throw me for a loop when I come up here. But I first just wanted to start by saying, Michael Riley, that was the most inspiring. I've been watching, in the crowd, watching Oregon Track Club annual meeting updates for 20 years. That was the most inspiring, great job on that. Tracktown USA, killing it. You could feel it. I'm really excited for this year. So I just wanted to give props there. This is going to be a very fun year. And also thanks for just killing it so much that I feel like I have nothing to say on this. 50 years there, 50 years for the Butte to Butte. It's the Oregon Relay's 20th anniversary, so that's fun. I still honestly can't believe that Martin accepted us to be able to try and put on this meet. Just a college kid, fresh out of college, and I did not know what I was doing, and he just let me, and we're here. We got a grant from the Oregon Track Club for $3,000, and now 20 years later, and honestly, I think that I've always really thought of the Oregon Relays as the perfect example of what we do with athletic.net, runnerspace, DieStat, trying to utilize all of our company's pieces to try and put on the coolest meet, try and make track and field fun, engaging, exciting. But I also have the feel that the heart and the spirit of this town and Oregon Track Club, especially from the grassroots, being here, running as a duck and doing this, that it just really extends into every aspect of our company. So I realized that the Oregon Relays as a track meet in the USA might be a top 20 meet. Here in Eugene, it's not even cracking the top 10. Which is, it's always very humbling. We kind of accept the fact that we're sort of the misfits meet of this, and we embrace it. And I appreciate everyone that's involved with the Oregon Relays and kind of rolling with some of our fun things that are pretty quirky or out there, not traditional. And we just kind of roll with it, and everybody has fun. So I appreciate everyone. I mean, there's so many people in this room that I went and I said, hey, what do you think about this? And you were like, all right, well, I'll give it a go. And that's usually the reaction, but it's always the hey, we'll give it a go and see. Just community doing things together. So really, in terms of segueing into how we utilize the Oregon Relays as an example for our company, and really trying each piece and how it really sort of pushes the limits or tests things out, and really kind of pushing those limits. Are just some quick stats on some of the pieces that have grown over this last year. Athletic timing, which times the meet and times many of the meets that you guys know. Now we're over 500 meets a year, which is pretty crazy considering its beginnings. With Athletic Net and our registration system, we did over 29,000 meets, used our system for registering across the world. Athletic Live this year, we did over 13,000 meets with live data pushing across the world. Another record by about 25%. Run Meet, our meet management system, did over 10,000 meets ran for the meet management system. That's sort of the high-tech sort of competitor there. So, you know, these are just things that just at scale, what we're trying to do and try and helping the sport have every meet be able to save money, people be able to save time. Let's push the boundaries and have things be done in the coolest way. Don't have only the biggest meets like the Prees and the Oregon Relays and these other meets have all these sweet bells and whistles. We want everyone to have the bells and whistles to engage the entire sport and fan base and at the cheapest way, push the boundaries. So really just excited to be part of this town. And again, Michael, thanks for being the, you know, Tracktown USA being the shining light for all of us to lead, and Oregon Track Club being the track club across the entire world that is sort of the best example to be a part of. I'm just so proud to be a part of this as a former board member as well, former Duck. Just really, really proud to be a part of this community, and so thank you all.
Ross didn't even mention that they had a world record in his meet this year, that distance medley relay. Congratulations to him. He's the Horatio Alger of track and field, I think, starting from nothing. And look at all these meets that he's involved with, just simply amazing. Another amazing person is our own Danny Bowman. He quietly goes about filling in the gaps, doing whatever is necessary to make our track club tick. And I would like to now turn it over to the one and the only Danny Bowman to take us through all the other stuff we do. Danny, take it away.
Thank you, Tom. Good evening, everyone. Tom, how are we doing on time?
We're running over again.
Excellent. So we'll fast track this. I can either master the pause or I can make it quick. We're going to make it quick. Real quick, I wanted to make sure that we I'm going to embody your calendars here and remind everyone of some really good events that you all have an opportunity to take part of this year. Kicking off unbelievably in a few weeks with our Run Walk series. I believe this is going to be our 14th year. Yes, good. 14th year this year with our Run Walk series starting in March. Some exciting changes coming up this year. But as always, I absolutely want to make sure that we earmark time and space to show our appreciation for that amazing committee of Charlie Skoog, John Barry, Teresa Bowen, Doris Ty, Maureen Pollock, Mr. William Wyckoff, and his team at Eclectic Edge Racing. We can't do that without any of you guys, and certainly without so many of the other volunteers that help us out with that program, and of course without your participation. So please join us there. Shortly after that, we'll be making a big appearance at the Eugene Marathon Expo. Oregon Track Club are gold level sponsors this year. So we look forward to seeing you there. Don't forget, you get a 10% discount at that expo booth. So come join us there. And of course, Hayward Classic. I did a quick view of the room, and I'm pretty sure that about 99% of you qualify to participate and compete in this year's Hayward Classic. This can be a big deal. So we hope to see you there. It is a outstanding event put on by OTC Masters, and again, you are all welcome to come participate. And if you don't come participate, you should come and cheer along. You can absolutely afford the price of that ticket, I promise. Of course, Butte to Butte, and thank you, Michael Riley, again for the lead up to Butte to Butte. We've got a very special year this year to coincide with all the fun festivities with Pre-50. So we will look forward to getting you guys there. And then, of course, Priest Trail Run. We don't have the exact calendar date yet. But last year was an incredible event. We saw an NCAA matchup, very fun time on Priest Trail, fun for the whole family. And that is probably going to be it for now because I'm getting the time look by Tom. See you soon. Thank you for your support.
Yes, we're about 10 minutes over, so I'm only going to give you a few of Kathy Toomey Bellamy's PRs. The most important one, though, is the 5,000 one. Kathy is still 92nd on the U.S. all-time list at the end of the 23 season, as of the end of the 23 season, with her 15:17:02. Now, where's Maddie Elmore? Maddie, she's only 2 seconds behind you. Okay, yeah, until the spring, of course. But anyway, also over at the raffle, we have one of Kathy's fine wines over there. I would be bidding big time for that, big time. Okay. Anyway. Kathy, come on up. Take it away. Kathy Toomey Bellamy, a legend in this town.
You're awesome. Ross, I'm pretty sure John Barry and I were at one of your 800s in high school where you annihilated Marist. Maybe not all the time. He was. So I can't believe another year has gone by. This is amazing how fast time does go by. But this is a very important award for me, especially from my heart. And I would like to give you a little history, just real quick, about the history of this award. Chris Broffett was an Olympic sprinter who earned degrees from the University of Oregon and was a highly respected counselor of troubled youth. He was the only Oregonian to compete in the 1980 Olympics, running for his native Trinidad and Tobago, while the rest of the U.S. boycotted the Moscow Games. His death on Priest Trail 40 years ago this past November was shocking and left a void in this community. In recognition of that, the Chris Broffett Award is presented annually to someone who promotes the sport of track and field and ultimately the mission statement of the Oregon Track Club by encouraging young people and their families to engage in activities that foster health and well-being. And this year marks the 11th presentation of OTC's Broffett Award. We thank Chris's widow, Sharon, and their son, Sean, for once again being present to honor their husband, father, and our award recipient. It is an honor to announce that the recipient of this year's Chris Broffett Award is Mike Olson. Come on up here, buddy.
Drinks too, man.
Come on, buddy.
Remember that day.
Oh, God.
Wow, this is exciting. I remember that day when it happened. It's stuck in my mind for all these years.
Well, this is an honor then. Okay. Well, Mike, you're going to have to listen about yourself for just a minute here, okay? And you might want to sit down because you have a long history. Don't worry, Tom. Mike is a former president of the Oregon Track Club, serving from 2007 to 2009, a period in which the partnership of OTC and University of Oregon coach Vin Lanana brought the Olympic trials back to Eugene and forever changed the landscape of the sport in our community. In his tenure as OTC president, Mike was active in the Butte to Butte, the Summer All-Comers Meets, and the Pre-Classic, a meet for which he was referee from day one. His passion for Priest Trail led to organizing work parties to maintain this community treasure. In the late 70s, he was a softball coach for kids sports. By early 80s, he became an involved parent with Track City Track Club. The club became known for its International Classic, a meet in its heyday attracted over 1,000 kids from the US and Canada. Mike was the head clerk and referee for this meet that ran 30 years. In the mid-1980s, Tom Ragsdale, the first recipient of this award, recruited Mike to serve as clerk for U of O meets, and ultimately he served as meet referee. He helped at local high school meets for Sheldon and the Oregon Relays. This, coupled with his U of O experience, led him into working high school meets for the OSAA as clerk and then meet referee at the local and state levels in both track and field and cross country. And most recently, the state cross country championships this past November. Over the years, Mike became immersed in all aspects of meet management, everything from organizing hurdle crews, managing the clerk circle and equipment, coordinating the officials, and transitioning to the technology of automatic timing. An avid runner himself, he ran numerous marathons, training with Marv Rexius and Jack Anderson. All three ran the Goodwill Games Marathon in Seattle on what was the hottest day in Seattle history. Coming to the first aid station, he found it already dry. Not a drop of water to be had. He was miffed. His coach,
real sympathetic. Run faster, she said. I did. For all the years of active track and field community involvement, Mike Olson is the 11th recipient of the Chris Broffett Award. Congratulations. Here you go, buddy.
Wow.
Got your name on it and everything. Okay.
Thank you. Like I say, I can still remember in my mind the day that he got shot. And it was just a memorable day in my mind because I was a very active runner in those days. And to see a running buddy go down, it just almost kills you. And but this award means a hell of a lot to me because I thought a lot of him. And you know, my passion has been track and field for years. And I love Oregon Track Club, and that's why I've been a part of it. And it's a great club, and I hope you all enjoy it. And thank you very much for this award.
Thank you so much, Kathy and Mike. Congratulations. Athletes, I just want you to know that in the past couple years, we've had Elliot Cook here. He came to this meeting. What an incredible season he had, right? Jada, you were here a couple years ago, right? That was the ticket, wasn't it, for your shot up to superstardom. So for all you athletes that are being very patient here tonight, just know that there's a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow, okay? Craig Masbach's looking at me like I have 3 heads, but that's normal. Okay, Bettina Huber. Where are we, Bettina? All right. Bettina, get us back on time here, if you would. You're going to be presenting the Rescue Award, one of the greats of Oregon Track Club history, Bettina Huber. Thank you.
Yeah, I took it to heart that I got to stay within my allotment, so this will be much quicker than that one. All right. Sorry, I don't want to get scowled at here later. All right. The Rescue Award began in 2001 and is given annually to someone that demonstrates excellence through his or her service to the club. The award is named in honor of my parents, Richard and Melanie Rescue. And I've always been proud of their involvement and dedication to the club over the many years. This year, we're honoring someone who also demonstrated that excellence and commitment over time. He has been involved in many levels with the club. And to start, about him personally, this person is one of 5 kids, comes from a background of volunteering, with his parents having volunteered for numerous groups, community groups, church groups, school activities, and on and on. His father was a track and field official himself for 52 years. So he definitely comes from a background of giving back. This person also is heavily involved with the local Audubon Society. Yeah, but I think a lot of people are probably going, I think I know this is. Turning his 10-acre property into a wildlife habitat, housing and caring for birds, and giving presentations to groups around town on birds and habitat. But turning to track and to OTC. As far as committees, he's on the OTC Board of Directors. He's on the OTC Officials Committee. He's been OTC Masters President twice, and he continues to be the coordinator of the Officials Emeritus Program for past officials. On some activities that he's done, he's helped with being the officials coordinator for the Hayward Classic. He's a track athlete himself, doing sprints and high jump for masters, and he continues to compete, entering the 80 to 84 age group in April. And he also helps with recruiting officials and helps to put on the training clinics for both new and experienced officials, with the next one coming up this month on February 15th. And in the area of officiating, he's a master level official, and he's been officiating for 24 years, mostly discus crew, but he's done a lot of other events. He took on being head javelin official in a pinch when I retired in 2019, and I'd initially trained someone else to do it, but that didn't pan out the last second. Well, he stepped right up and took it on, so I'm deeply appreciative for that. And although he retired as head of javelin himself just this past year, he's still recertifying for this new Olympiad of the 4 years and plans to continue officiating with javelin or whatever group he might be needed at. And if that's not enough, he's also taken on coordinating and collecting Hayward Classic memorabilia for the club, putting together a display that contains all the programs from 1982. We're currently in our 39th year, by the way, and has all the t-shirts from all the years, except for, and I remember these years, 1982, 83, 88, and 92. And is working on getting all the medals for each year as well. So if any of you have any of these missing items, see this person. All right, so given everything, I'm honored to present this year's Rescue Award to Dick Lamster. Here we go, Dick.
This is a surprise.
Oh, you can hold it, you can say something. Yeah, big surprise. Right?
I'm the one on the right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Caught me by surprise.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
That's it.
We are quick, right? You're very welcome. Oh. All right.
Hit that video. All right. Thank you to Josh Seitz. We got that video about 20 minutes before the evening started, and that's all from the Razorback Invitational from this last weekend. It is my distinct pleasure and your distinct pleasure to bring up one of the finest athletes to come out of Eugene, Oregon, South Eugene's own Maddie Elmore. Come on up. Please take a seat. So glad that you could join us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
You betcha. So Maddie's the school record holder at 15:15:79 for the 5,000 meters. She was second in the Big Ten Cross Country Championships last year. How about that, huh? Second in the first year ever of the Big Ten Cross Country. Fourth in the Pac-12s in 23. She won the Dellinger meet here in on the home soil in 2024. How are you feeling right now? What's your conditioning like?
I'm not doing indoor right now, but I'm excited for outdoor. So,
Okay, do
yeah.
tell.
I'm just dealing with a little injury. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, you decided to stay in town. You decided to stay here, go to the University of Oregon from South Eugene. Why did you decide to go to the University of Oregon?
I had been going to meets at Hayward since I was like that tall, and it was always my dream to come here. I started playing soccer, so I didn't really think I would ever run for Oregon, and then when it became a possibility, it was like, why would I ever leave when I have this here?
Well, okay. You won the OSAA 6A 1,500 in 2019 and third in 2017. What's it like running for Jerry Schumacher? What's it like running for Shalane?
Honestly, when they first got hired, when Shalane would first text me, I was like, Shalane Flanagan is texting me. Like, it was really surreal, and it's just been an amazing experience being coached by them. And yeah, I'm like so grateful for it every day. And yeah, it's just like, since they've come, everything's really gone up for me and the whole team, really.
What's the hardest workout they gave you?
Probably when they first got here. The turf, definitely.
What's the turf?
Doing turf repeats, mile repeats. Shalane was like, have you guys ever done a tempo before? And we were like, no, what is that? And now that's, yeah, a lot of what we do.
Okay. What's it like? You get to run with Claudia Kazimierska, Olympic finalist in the 1500, with now Juliet Cheruiyot coming from Texas Tech, and Shalan Ayildiz. All these fine runners, are they pushing you do you love the atmosphere? Are they pushing you hard?
Yeah, I think that's like the best part about our team is that team atmosphere. I started out with Claudia, and that was really fun developing with her, and then Shalan came last year, which has been huge. Like, yeah, people call us twins because we look pretty similar.
You do.
And like a lot of times I get called Shalan or Claudia all the time. So just us three together has been so fun to train with. And yeah, like Shalan coming has made me so much better. And then Claudia has that speed. So yeah, we all just like make each other so much better.
Do you ever go out on the town, the three of you guys, and try to fool people who is who?
No, maybe we should. But yeah, I do get called Claudia a lot, or people will say they saw me at the Olympics, and I'm like, that was not me, but thanks.
Could be you. What are you studying at the University of Oregon?
Advertising. I'm actually missing my class with Paul Swangard right now.
Okay. Okay. Did you get a written
Yeah,
release?
he said it was okay for this.
Okay. Well, I'm glad he did that. All right. So what's a typical day in the life of a University of Oregon middle distance runner?
Yeah, we have practice in the morning, and then...
Do you have breakfast before or after?
Before. Oatmeal.
Okay. What time do you wake up?
Like 7.
Okay. What time's the workout?
8:30 is usually when we
And
meet.
you've digested all the oatmeal by then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Keep going.
Then we get treatment, do all of our exercises, core, that stuff. Then go to class. I only have one class right now since I'm almost done.
What is that class? Advertising.
Yes.
Okay, and what do you plan on doing? You have a couple years of eligibility left. I confirmed that with Coach Schumacher
Yes.
before the event today.
Yeah, I do.
Are you going to stay?
Yes, probably.
Good. You want to come back to this event?
Yeah, I'll come back.
Okay,
If
great.
I have a year like Elliot did after this. So.
Or Jada.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Jada.
Okay. Any questions from the crowd here for Maddie? Come on. Nothing?
Jerry, you don't have a question?
I just see him bowing his head and like trying to avoid. Yeah. That's a good question.
Well, my first year was like complete COVID year, so that was pretty tough just because we couldn't compete at all. But yeah, I think just the level that the NCAA is at is just insane, but that has made me so much better, and that's like the point of it. So I think it's just been really fun. Just every year we have to level up to meet that standard.
Craig, you got a question, right?
Sure. How fast can you run this year?
How? We'll see.
You know who he is, don't you?
No, I don't.
Oh, come on, Maddie. Oh, my gosh. This is probably the greatest track and field commentator in the history of sport. Craig Masbach, also
He's
CEO
better
of
than
USA
Paul
Track and
Swanger.
Field. What's that? Can you repeat that?
I asked if he was better than Paul Swanger.
Oh, of course. That's a good question. What can you run? Under 15 for sure, right?
That's definitely the goal.
Listen, if Kathy Toomey Bellamy can run 15, 17 in broken down flats from, the 1920s. You should be able to go under 15.
No, when you said her time, I was like, that is really, really impressive.
Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else for Maddie? Yes, ma'am. And then you.
When you qualify for the USA Nationals, who do you think will be your top competitor?
For USA's?
Yes.
Or NCAAs.
Or NCAA's.
So for USA, after when you qualify for the USA, which is beyond the collegiate
Yeah.
USA.
Wow. There's.
There could be non-collegiate people.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of amazing pros right now. So, yeah, Parker Valby just joined professionally. Elise St. Pierre, Elise Cranny. There's, yeah, I could name like 10 to 15, probably. Yeah.
And one question back there.
I'm injured right now.
There are a lot of young freshman women who are on your team, and then you have the experienced group. Do you guys all run together, do the workouts together, or how do you meld those young women?
Yeah, we're a pretty cohesive team, and our freshmen are super talented. So yeah, like you saw Ellie Ince run last week.
Yeah,
like
she's really good.
Yeah, they can hang with us. So yeah, we train together for the most part.
All right, Maddie Elmore, give it up. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. Kaylee Mitchell, you were here a few years ago, weren't you? Okay, Kaylee Mitchell's another person who came to this event and just took off. Absolutely, her career took off after coming to this event. I remember that now. Okay, next up, speaking of somebody who came to this event and then took off, let me tell you, this young lady, come on up, Jada Ross, come on up. Fifth place, fifth in the world last year, fourth in the Olympic Games in the shot put. Jada Ross.
Thank you.
So I have a real interesting stat for you. Okay. So Jada in high school, in her senior year, she threw the shot 48.5, which is 164th in the U.S. that year. She threw the discus 147.8, which was 360th in the U.S. In the U.S., not in the world, in the U.S., okay? 5 years later, she throws the shot 65.7 3/4, and yes, she was fourth at the Olympic Games, but she was the fifth longest thrower in the world. So in those 5 years, you went from 164th U.S. high schooler to number 5 in the world. How about that for Jada Ross, huh? Now, Jada is the collegiate shot put record holder, fourth in the Olympic Games, won the Pac-12 shot and disc, second NCAA indoor, and she also was one of the best spotters we ever had for the Prefontaine Classic. She arrived early, she did her job very, very well, was very articulate on the production line, which we all appreciated, so she's very, very diverse and helpful, okay? You led the Olympics after the first round. What was that like?
It was really surreal. I mean, I had to stay kind of present the whole time, so.
How do you do that?
I don't know, a lot of mental work. I have a lot of different mental strategies. I like to talk to myself kind of out loud while I'm competing, just because I get pretty nervous. I have a lot of adrenaline, so I try to just calm down. And then kind of field events are all like this, but you can't really assume anything after the first round, so just keep competing, try to throw farther every throw. But it was pretty cool to lead for a second there.
I'll say.
I was praying for the rain. I throw really well in the rain, so I was like, keep
it
raining,
was a slippery
keep raining.
ring.
Yeah,
it was a slippery ring.
Yeah.
And you were still in bronze medal position after 3 rounds. Did you know that, or were you not? Or you just focus on the next throw?
No, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
I saw it slip down, keep getting lower.
Did you go to opening ceremony?
I did, yeah.
Tell us about it.
It was very wet. It was pouring rain. It was pouring rain, so we're wearing these like really nice outfits, but they were really heavy, and then they got heavier as the night went on because it just kept pouring and dumping on us. And we're standing on these boats, and it's kind of like, it's really cool because like as the boats are moving, you see all these different tons of people and everything, but at the same time, you are standing in one spot, not covered in dumping rain on a boat. So it was really cold, but it was really cool. Like really, really cool to just see like all these different flags as you kind of like float down. You just see all the different countries, all the support, the love for the Olympic Games. It was just really, really cool.
Did you ever? Yeah, all right. Were the clothes retrievable? Did they dry? Can you bring them back as souvenirs?
Yes, they're hanging in my closet. Very
Beautiful.
safe.
Okay, just want to make sure. Brian Bluetrick. So he's one of Jerry's assistant coaches. I would imagine he's been instrumental in your success in going from 164th in the U.S. to number 4 in the world, right? Or not?
Yes, very, very, very important.
Okay, what? What about him? What about what he teaches you?
Yeah, I tell everyone this. He is just a genius in the sport. Like, he has throwing down to a T, to a science. You can ask him any question and he will answer it very clearly. You know, he has a specific technique and it moves depending on how your body moves, but his technique is shown to be one of the best in the world. And he knows how to teach it and he knows how to explain it. And I ask a lot of questions and he just has so much patience with me. So he's just a genius in the sport. Yeah, he knows the sport really well.
You've had a couple rust busters this year. Yeah. You improved 3 feet from your first meet to your second meet. Mm-hmm. Tell me how it's going to unfold this year for you.
Yeah, just getting my rhythm back in the ring. Had a short break just after the Olympics, getting back into indoors. Didn't really get as much fall training as I wanted.
How come?
Just because it was a short break from the Olympics to now. Yeah. Used to like 2 or 3 months off and my off trainings, stuff like that. So it's just a little shorter, a little rushed, but I'm getting my rhythm back, getting my feeling back, getting my confidence back. So that all together will just make it go farther. So yeah, just seeing how it goes, staying positive.
Okay, what about goals?
Goals, big goals. I mean, I want the NCAA title. This is my last season for Oregon, this indoor season. So finish on a high, get those points for my team, and yeah.
So some people say the worst position to get in Olympic Games is 4th place, but you were so young. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that way at all? I think it's an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword. For me, I kind of think of it as like being my first games, and then on top of that, I am young. I almost think about it in my head as like, I don't just like get to have it all. Like being 4th is like, okay, now we work for 4 more years. Just kind of like, I made it to the Olympics, I placed high, but you don't kind of get to settle. You don't just get a medal. You don't just get to settle. There's way more work to do. And that's kind of how I view it, is like huge accomplishment, but also like there's so much more to work for because I do want a medal. So, yeah.
And all 3 of those medalists were young throwers, surprisingly. I mean,
Yeah.
all the favorites, Mitten, Jackson, didn't come through.
Yeah.
The youngsters came through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You think you're going to have some pretty tough rivalry with that crew, huh?
For sure, yeah. There's a lot of talented women throwing right now, but I think that's great. Competition's good.
So what do you do outside of track? What are your passions?
Let's see. I love music.
What kind?
If you watch any of my interviews, you know I love Ed Sheeran. Love of my life. I love playing guitar. I just watch him play and I copy it, you know. Lots of music. I love to cook. What else? I have a cat. His name is Will. He's an orange guy. Love him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, any questions for Jada from our assembled masses here?
One over there.
One over there.
What's next for you, Miss Ross, after college?
After college, I will be in Eugene, hopefully here
We want
in a
you
year.
in the Oregon Track Club, by the way.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We really want you here. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Aaron, where are you? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be still training here in Eugene, same coach, same facility and everything, and we'll just try out the pro life. Actually, this morning I got a text that I was accepted into the Chinese Diamond Leagues in April, so
Yay.
You'll see me there.
All right.
But yeah.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thanks.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
You're fourth in the Olympic Games. Of course you're going to be accepted. Who's your agent? Jerry Schumacher?
I don't have an agent yet, but I'm working with Karen Locke right now, but not officially. Just she's just helping me
Unofficial.
out. Yes,
I
unofficially.
understand. Okay. Oh, NIL deals.
NIL.
Yeah. Got any NIL deals?
Ducks of a feather.
All right.
Love them.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm working with Lithium Motors. They gave me a car. Love that.
Ooh, what kind?
It's a Honda Civic Sport 2025.
Nice. All right.
Yes, got it on sport mode all
Go
the time.
throwers. All right,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Jada, thank you so much. You're such
Thank
a
you.
delight.
Thanks
We
for
really
having me.
appreciate you. Yeah. Okay, as Kevin Ullman knows, one of my favorites is coming up now. All right, the USA age 16 and 17 record holder. Last weekend, come on up, Simeon. This young man, 10th fastest collegian of all time last weekend, 352 mile at the Razorback Invitational. This guy is already a legend. Track and Field News High School Athlete of the Year a couple years ago. He's got style, he's got charisma, and you're gonna find that out right now. In addition to all that, he was second in the USA under 2800 in 2023, 10 times South Dakota state champion. You ever hear of Taryn Cloth?
I haven't.
Okay, all right, well, I'll get that.
13, by the way.
Oh, are you counting cross country?
Cross country, if you
all
count
right,
that.
fair enough. And I'm glad he knows his stats, too. He's a number 2 all-time high school 1,500 meter runner at 3:37.93, number 4 miler at 3:57.53, number 3 2-miler 8:34.10, but that's just the beginning because this young man is going to tear apart all of the collegiate records and everything else that exists in his way. Ladies and gentlemen, Simeon Birnbaum. Dylan, can you pop up my sunglass thing, please? So, Simeon, this one was at the Razorback Invitational, and that's indoors.
Yeah, that's indoors. And that, no, Nebraska. That was at the Nebraska invitation.
Oh, Nebraska, right. Sorry. Okay, so indoor sunglasses, do tell.
I mean, I wear them outdoors, so I'm not going to change it up, you know. It's kind of my thing now, so I might as well stick with it.
And are you on an NIL deal for sunglasses?
I have not.
We need to get you an NIL deal for
That's what I've been
sunglasses.
saying. Yeah, I love that.
Rudy, can you help him out? Craig, can you help him out? Okay. Chapman and Mazback will take care of you after the dinner tonight, all right? So coming out of the great white north of South Dakota, you were in Alberta, right? Alberta, Canada. And you were a hockey player of some repute. Would you please roll the video? Thank you. This is Simeon Birnbaum at Hayward Field. You can see the beautiful strokes that he has there on the ice, the beautiful pirouette. And what brought you to Hayward Field to skate? I thought you'd come to Hayward Field to run track.
Yeah, I did not mean for this video to get this popular. I posted it. I posted it to my Instagram story, kind of like, oh, it's kind of cool. You can skate on Hayward, you know. And then it got reposted everywhere, and like NBC Olympics even like posted a video on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get in trouble. And sure enough, yeah. I had some talkings too. Some people weren't very happy, and so.
Was one of them sitting right there?
Yeah, he wasn't too hard on me, but I could tell he wasn't very happy with me. So I'm glad we can laugh about it now, but it caused a little bit of stress, I think.
All right, now look, you really ran well in the cross-country season. Very strong performance. I think you were number 1 freshman at the Big Ten cross-country championships. That 352 that you ran, but the same weekend you run your 352, Ethan Strand runs 348. What do you think about that?
I'm not surprised. I mean, if you run a 7:33K and you're a good miler, you might as well go break that record too. So I'm happy for him, but yeah, that's crazy.
It's pretty impressive, the competition you have out there.
Yeah, it's insane this year.
So how's Coach Schumacher going to make you a sub-350 miler, or maybe even a 346, 347 miler?
Just keep doing what I'm doing. I mean.
What are you doing?
Training hard. Jerry wouldn't say I'm training hard, but I think I'm training hard.
Okay, so goals for this year. You're freshman in track. What kind of goals are out there for you this year? I mean, that 352 is a hell of a way to get the season going, right?
I mean, yeah, that's an insane opener for me. Usually I open way slower. I mean, my last indoor PR was 4:05 in the mile, so just a little improvement. I don't know, how fast would you like to see me run?
I have a microphone. I want to tell you, this young man has given me a lot of thrills in my announcing career. And I think I'm going to say right here that Simeon Birnbaum is going to go 3:47 this season, okay? I'm on the record, 3:47, okay? All right, yeah, you're going to do it, yeah. All right, who do you look up to? Do you look up to Craig Masback? He was a hell of a miler.
Let's go with it. Yeah, I look up to you. I don't know. I hope you know that you're very popular in the comment section of all my social media posts. You get quoted all the time.
I do? Okay.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not a runner of any repute like
Yeah,
these
but you're pretty
guys.
cool.
Am I? Oh,
Yeah, I
wow,
think you're
okay.
cool.
Okay, well, I thought you were cool. Okay, so in terms of actual milers, who's out there? Who do you think is somebody that you would emulate? International, national, anybody?
I mean, just back home we got Elliot Cook.
Yep.
Very, very good athlete. I mean, I think he is the favorite, I guess, to win it all this year. He was second last year in the.
He's a favorite until you come along, right?
Well, he's a favorite now. I'm not saying I can't beat him, but right now he's definitely the favorite.
Okay.
Internationally, I mean, of course, I look up to Jakob. Super quick, really fast.
Okay, now wait a minute. So there's Jakob, there's Josh, and there's Cole. Now, by the way, Cole was at this banquet too a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, okay? I forgot about that. How could I forget about the Olympic champion being here? Yes, he was here. Simeon, Cole Hawker was here in your seat. So are you a Hawker guy, are you a Kerr guy, or are you an Ingebrigtsen guy?
Honestly, depends on the day. I mean, recently, obviously, Cole Hawker. I mean, if you win Olympic gold, of course, you got to be a fan of that person. But I like Jakob's style, too. I like how he rolls. I like how he talks. I think he's kind of cool.
Yeah, I kind of like he's a little edgy, right?
Yeah.
You're a little edgy, too.
A little bit.
That pointing over there that you did, was that at, that was at the Nike Outdoor, right?
Oh, when's that?
When you crossed the finish line and you pointed, I think at the Young brothers.
Oh, yeah.
You're much cooler than the Young brothers.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So, what's the hardest workout Coach Schumacher's given you?
Probably last year, the long runs. I don't really like running long that much. So we used to do long runs, and we used to tempo in the long run, so that pretty much just means running a lot faster than you should on a long run, in my opinion. And so, yeah, that was very difficult.
How long is a long run?
Right now it's 14. Some of the guys do 20.
Oh, God.
I'm on the lower end. Yeah.
Holy smokes. Yeah, okay. Wow. And you chose this? All right, questions for Simeon. I'm telling you, you will never forget this young man. This guy is got charisma. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Simeon, you're obviously primarily a miler, as is Elliot. And this fall, I was really impressed that you guys ran the regional cross country as a 10K, I believe, right? And then the nationals was a 10K. How did that go for you milers who don't like running long distances?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely worried. I mean, the 8K is a pretty long event for me, and then you add 2 more kilometers on. And it went pretty well for me. I think I adjusted pretty well, and I just thought of it as an 8K and just tried to forget about the couple extra minutes I had to run, and I don't know, it went all right.
Other questions for this young man? All right, well, oh, yes.
Pretty young, actually. I mean, I would say probably around like 2nd grade. I used to run around a field in Canada, so that was kind of my introduction. And then I started seriously running like my sophomore year.
So you're the second most famous athlete in South Dakota. Taryn Cloth, I mentioned her name. You've got to look her up. She represented Team USA in beach volleyball. Yes, from South Dakota in beach volleyball.
I think you have brought this up before. I'm forgetting where, but I think you have.
Yes, yes. So you and Taryn Cloth are the two most famous athletes to come out of South Dakota. I just want you to know that, okay? Okay, good. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Simeon Birnbaum. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good job. All right, Justin, don't bother my next guy. He's coming up now. Coach Schumacher, don't answer him. We got to get you up here.
I don't have any social media, so I don't see anything.
How do you exist?
I know. Some people would wonder.
Look at Masback. He's going on his social media right now.
And so I'm at home, and I'm doing some work on my computer, and I have my phone next to me. And I heard it buzz a little bit, and I happened to be on a group thread with some of my colleagues up at Nike. And the phone buzzed, and I picked it up, and I looked at it, and it said, "How much does it cost to resurface Hayward Field?" And I looked at it, and I was like, that must be the wrong thread. I'm not involved in this. So I put my phone back down, went back to work. A couple minutes later, it buzzed again. And I picked it up, and I looked at it, same thread, and it said, "I don't know. I don't have the money to do that, though. Or I don't have the money to resurface it." And I looked at it, and I'm like, what? Why is this on this? What does that have to? I put my phone down. Went back to work. A couple minutes later, buzzed again, and it said, "Jerry" with a question mark. And I went, well, why am I involved in this? So I quickly sent back, what's going on? And then I was sent that video. So I quickly fired off a text message or two, and also made a few calls and said, okay, I grew up in the Midwest, grew up skating on ponds and playing pond hockey myself. Ice skates go in about 1/8 of an inch into the ice. There was about 2 inches of ice covering Hayward, so the track is fine. There's nothing wrong with the track. But point taken. So long story short, when we go through our rules or our do's and don'ts to the student athletes every year before the season starts, we've now added no ice skating on Hayward Field.
That's called the Birnbaum rule, right?
It is the Birnbaum rule.
Birnbaum
There's
rule.
no
Okay.
ice skating on Hayward
Right.
Field.
Yep.
I'm not sure we're ever going to have to see that again or address it again, but it was worth doing that one time. So thank you to Simeon for that.
So speaking of the Birnbaum rule, 352.81, pretty impressive, huh?
Yeah, that's a good mile for him. Good opener.
Yeah, I liked it. So the team this season, you got Cherubet coming in, Kazimierska, sub-4, Olympic finalist, Jaden Mays off to a good start, Elliot Cook, of course, Wilma Nielsen ran very well, Ben Smith, the shot discus guy. How are you feeling about the team?
Yeah, I like our team a lot. I think we're really building in all the right places, and it's coming together the right way. Obviously, we're new to the Big Ten Conference this year. I have some familiarity with it since having been in it before, but it's going to be a good conference. It's a power conference. There's 18 schools in it, and a lot of good track schools. So it should be a really fun year with our athletes across the board, men and women. Obviously, we're excited. We're hoping to be competing for championships both in the conference and the NCAA.
Now you got this 142 800-meter runner that represented Kenya at the Olympics, whose first name I can't pronounce, but I believe his last name is Kadali, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
Tell me about him.
Kadali, yeah, he goes by Kadali, by the way.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's very talented, obviously. 142 is pretty fast, obviously. I actually took a little bit of pleasure in educating our team and just kind of going through the 800 school record at the University of Oregon is 141, which is quite amazing.
Joaquin Cruz.
Correct. Joaquin Cruz. So that is, everyone thinks that, 142, which it is, it's an amazing performance, an amazing time, but we have the fastest school record in the 800 in, all of college. So he's got some work to do to even get to there.
Does he know about this?
He knows about it. I told him.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I don't leave the athletes in the dark. I go through it. Like, Simeon's up here saying, you're asking him about hard work. He hasn't done a hard workout yet. Like, we haven't even got to that yet. I mean, we're still doing baby steps, so.
Hey,
so,
take care of my guy over here.
Oh, I am.
Okay,
That's what
all
I'm doing.
All right,
So that's
all
what I'm
right.
doing.
All right.
That's why we're on baby steps still.
Okay, okay. So, very excited. We have the Oregon team invite on April 14th. Tell us all about it. It's a scoring meet, God forbid, a college scoring meet. I know Craig's excited about that.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
right, Craig? Yep, okay.
So it's April 19th, Saturday, April 19th.
Sorry, I said the 14th.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
April 18th, we actually have kind of an open, more of we have a meet that for all college athletes. Every event will be happening, and that's on Friday. A special event on Saturday, April 19th, is a team scored meet, which are things that I think are really important for collegiate track and field. I think so often, track gets lost a little bit where it becomes, I really think it should be about the name on the front of the chest, not the one on the back. And, team competition is where you really get to feel that and see that. So at this competition, we're bringing in, somewhere between 6 and 8 schools only. Every event will be scored. Every athlete will score. It'll score from, if there's 16 competitors in it, and it'll be 16 points for first place, and if you finish last in your event, it's 1 point. But every athlete will score and add to their team score. You can only put 2 people in per event. We weren't able to do all the events in the team scored section because of the time, the time constraints. But
You mean you're going to make it a short track meet?
It's a short track.
That's an oxymoron.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It's going to be about 2.5 hours.
All right.
It'll be on television. It should be a lot of fun, and I hope it's the start of something that we can build upon and make better and better every single year because, again, I think having scored meets is really important.
I saw a lot of people perk up when you said score meet. I was looking at the audience here, and I think that's something that's really resonating with this group and will resonate with everybody else. Hey, yeah, let's go. Yeah. So tell me what Dan Lanning said to you after you got back from the Brian Clay meet last year.
Yeah, it's actually happened twice, kind of 2 times now, which is just happened again 2 weeks ago. It's, for most, and again, our sport's a little bit different, so it's not going to fit nice, perfectly into this box of athletics that everyone's going to understand. But you can imagine someone in Dan's position. It's when you go to a competition, when you go to a game, it's about winning and losing. It's that simple. So, back in the spring last year, Dan was bringing some recruits through Hayward because he shows the football recruits around, especially the ones that maybe think about being 2-sport athletes, which there's a couple. And Dan came by and he's like, "Hey, I missed you last week. I think you were out at a meet." And I said, "Oh yeah, we were at a meet." And he said, "Did you guys win?" And I literally stood there looking at him, and I was thinking, I don't know quite. Yeah, we won. So there was no score kept at the meet. We just took our athletes there. They compete in their events, and we come home, and which drives me crazy because I think we should have competition against other teams, and there should be.
And Dan looked at you like you had 3 heads, right?
Well, no, because I told him we won. So, but I think he was wondering why the delay in answering. But did he just make that up? I mean, I think that's what he was thinking. Like, did he really win? But yeah, it's and then 2 weeks ago we were doing a kind of a combined recruiting call together with an athlete that wants to do both track and football at the University of Oregon, or at least we're hoping it's at the University of Oregon. And we're sitting there talking, and Dan asked where I was. I was in Nebraska. He's like, "Oh, how many athletes do you have there?" And we kind of talked about it a little bit. And he said, "All right, you guys going to bring home the W this weekend?" And this time, with no hesitation, I said, "Absolutely." So yeah, it's one of those things that I truly think is important for our sport. I hope we can find a way to get back to more competitions that are scored. Oregon against Nebraska, against UCLA, against Texas, against Florida. Like, I would love to see those types of competitions collegially. I think there's a time and a place where that leaves, and that's the next world of athletics that's beyond college. But in college, I think that's a very important thing, and Hayward Field's a perfect place to host those types of events. And so I'm really hoping that this kind of takes off and we can build on it for the future.
Amen. I know A&M's coming. Who else is coming?
Yeah, A&M's coming. Oklahoma State's coming. Wichita State's coming. Kansas State's coming. We're hoping Nebraska comes. We're still kind of going back and forth over some details, but we're hoping we can get Nebraska. And then on the women's side, we've added Utah and Oregon State as well.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
great, great. So we were talking a little bit before, the nature of the sport of college track and field is going to undergo a seismic shift after this season. Claudia Wilkin in April is going to have that decision in House versus NCAA. What's going to happen? What's the ramifications of all of this?
I mean, it's really too early to tell and hard to see or hard to even say. It's definitely evolving and changing, as we speak. I think where it stands right now, it looks like all athletic teams will go to roster numbers. So there'll be some sort of roster cap, it sounds like. It's not for sure. I mean, that could change in April again. But as of right now, it sounds like there's going to be some roster caps on teams, and track and field will be no different.
It's in the 50s, somewhere in the 50s?
I think what they said initially was that it would be 45 for men and 45 for women.
45 men,
Yep.
and then cross country is
17.
17, okay.
17 for cross country. Those would be the roster caps. Those would be the limits on your roster size. So we'll have to work around, that, and that's something that'll be new and challenging, I think, for programs that are used to having slightly bigger rosters.
But theoretically, you can now offer 45 scholarships if you want to.
That would be true. If you have the funding and support for it, you can do that. So it'll be interesting to see what other programs and teams and what directions they go, the various conferences that decide to play track and field at a really big level. And, I'm very confident, though, that, here at the University of Oregon, that we want to be, one of the best programs year in and year out. And I'm confident that we'll be playing the game with all the other big-time programs that want to do it.
How many do you think there'll be?
How many do I think? What do we?
How many big-time programs do you think will there be after this dust settles?
I mean, there'll be plenty.
You think so?
Yeah, there'll be plenty for track and field. It's a sport that is important to a lot of universities. Obviously very important here at the University of Oregon. We know the rich history and tradition that track and field has here. But there's a lot of competitive programs that want to win in track and field, and they'll be every bit as it'll be a good challenge just to when the dust settles and we know that, I don't know if it'll be 50 schools, but there'll be a lot of programs that want to play track at a big level, and I think it'll make for a really good competition. And what my dream would be, if I'm honest, what my dream would be is that the NCAAs would be kind of a series, you'd have some sort of I don't know if it's a series of competitions, but some sort of a way where we whittle it down to an NCAA team championship. And right now, not to take anything away from the way it exists now, but it's an individual championship that we score as a team. But it's not really a team championship. The conference is more of a team championship. The NCAA meet is you can take one athlete, and if that athlete is a superstar and they win 2 events and they score 20 points, you're going to finish in the top 10 off of one athlete. And that is what you call your team, one athlete at the national meet. Whereas at the conference meet, you're taking, 34 athletes to the conference championship, and maybe 22 of them score. Now that to me is a better definition of what your track and field team is. I would love to see a national championship where the best teams compete against the best teams. That to me would be a really exciting competition, and I think it'd be great for fans. I think it'd be great for athletic directors. It'd be great for football coaches. So,
You'd have an answer then.
We'd have an answer every time.
How have you had to adapt your coaching style? You were coaching pros at Bowerman up in Portland, and you're still coaching pros. Of course, we'll get to that a little bit later tonight. But just now you're with college kids and had COVID, the aftermath of COVID when you first came in and everything like that. Did you have to adapt, and have you had to adapt? What have been some of the things that have happened here that have made you kind of go, oh, I need to change a little bit?
Well, I think there's changes that are made every year. I think we have a really good system for helping athletes prepare, get really fit, and have success in whether it's pro or college. But I think every year I definitely sit back and I think of things that I think I want to try that are slightly different. I'll never just, overhaul the entire program and throw everything away and start over. I think it's making micro changes where I see places where we can be better and do things a little bit differently. And that is, it's a process of just, paying attention during the season, things that you see that are working, things that maybe aren't working. For instance, I had practice at 8 o'clock in the morning a year ago with the college guys. And it doesn't matter how much I preached about going to bed early. I don't know what their problem is, but they would stumble in looking like they were half asleep all the time. So it drove me crazy. So I sat down with Chris Zielinski, our assistant coach, and I said, Chris, they're just not getting enough sleep because no matter what we say, like they go to bed too late. And that's just, I think young men are wired that way sometimes. And so anyways, long story short, I moved practice back. I moved it to 9:30. Now I will say it was great because they came in alert. They were ready to go. It was, much better, more focused training. Everything was great. They were just getting a little extra sleep. Then in the course of this quarter, I moved it back to 9, which is okay. It's still working so far. It's been good. But just a little thing to learn with some of the college guys that we want to make some changes just to make sure that we're getting the most out of our sessions and our practices. But there's micro changes we make to the training. There's micro changes we make to how we communicate with them. There's all kinds of little things, how we travel, all these things that we do. And we just keep getting better and better as we go. Hopefully that's the main idea.
So I know Maddie Elmore only has one class and it's advertising with Paul Schwangard, but the rest of the group, what happens if they have a 9 a.m. class?
They don't schedule 9 a.m. classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, we go over it beforehand. If they're scheduling 9 a.m. classes, then we have a problem because, they're not going to class.
Right. Okay. All right.
But they know beforehand. They know, hey, we say it before they register for classes the previous quarter. We say, hey, guys, like this fall, before they registered, I said, we're pushing practice back to 9 a.m. Make sure you plan appropriately. But here's the thing. They said they had for the first classes, we're starting at 1 p.m. and we had practice at 9:30. That's what we did in the fall. And they were like, we were a little bit rushed for getting off the class too when you have practice at 9:30. So we pushed it back to 9. I'm like, this will be perfect. Gives us an extra half hour. They won't be rushed and so forth. But what did they go ahead and do? They scheduled the class for noon then. So we have the same problem with rushing off the class after practice now, but we're working that out too. So.
Geez, are they getting a manicure and a pedicure or something?
Yeah.
It's 3 hours.
Well, we got a lot of work to do.
All right. Okay. Last question from me. Name, image, and likeness, NIL. Is it a pain in the ass for you as a coach?
No, it's not, it actually isn't. It actually isn't. It's wonderful for the student athletes to have the opportunities to earn name, image, and likeness money. I think that's a great thing for them. It presents challenges for sure because, in the recruiting front, you come across athletes who, are basically like, well, I can get X amount from, this school or X amount from that school. And it presents challenges for us to figure out how we navigate that world to, be competitive and still retain, some of our best athletes. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. And,
okay.
And regardless if I like it or not, it is the way of the world. And I'm going to evolve with it and make the changes as we need to and just keep growing and trying to be, the best program we can with what's happening.
All right, one more question.
Yeah.
One athlete that you think is going to surprise the world here this spring, summer, that you're coaching right now at the University of Oregon?
That's too hard to say.
Oh, come on.
I can't do that.
Come on, Coach.
We have a lot of good athletes.
I know, but just somebody that's been lying in the weeds and you think is going to emerge.
So you can't pick someone else. You can't say like a Jada Ross because she's already been fourth at the Olympic Games.
No, you can't say
right?
Jada.
So Jada, you're off the list. Okay. Well, you've already blew up Simeons. I got a whole bunch of damage control to do when we go back. But if you were to have asked me, I would have said, prior to the 352 because he's really done nothing since he's been here. And then he ran 352 this weekend.
What about the Big Ten cross country?
No, that doesn't count. Like that was okay. That was okay.
Come on.
Yeah, that was okay. So I would have said, if you would have asked me, I would have said, hey, keep your eye on Simeon this season. I think he had a great fall. He's been training consistently. He hasn't been training hard yet, but he's been training consistently. And I think he's going to have a really nice season. That's what I would have said.
I'm worried for Simeon right now.
I'm just doing my job.
All right, questions for Coach Schumacher. Oh, Robert.
Simeon ice skated on Hayward.
I was just in shock of what was going on. Like, yeah, I watched the video 3 times, and I didn't even know what to respond with. So, but yeah, I did think of it as, the part of it that I thought of was, I was like, it would have been kind of cool to see him rip around the track completely and just see what that looked like. But he's he's very good at skating. He played hockey a lot, as they do in South Dakota.
And Alberta, too.
Yes. My only real question was, like, deep down in my head, as I'm sitting there at my home that night, getting these text messages, thinking, like, what the heck is going on here? I thought, where did he get ice skates from? And why does he have ice skates here in Eugene? It doesn't even snow here. Like, why does he have ice skates here? Where did he think why would he ever think he needs ice skates? So. It's probably going to be snowing outside. Yeah, no, I know. That's the worst part about it.
There was a question over here.
Yes, I was wondering about this young man, Chidalby.
Yes.
When he ran 352, was it?
142.
Or, excuse me, 142. That was probably in preparation for the Olympics or something like
So it's
that.
the trials,
It was
wasn't it?
Kenyan
trials.
Olympic trials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So collegiately, what's reasonable to expect? Because they're not going to be at that same level, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, that tends to be a little bit of a summer fitness, I think. This has been a big culture change for him, a lot of differences. He's learning a lot. He's growing really fast in terms of just education and being in a whole new world, really. He's a great young man, though. Everyone loves him. He ran 142 once, which is because it shows you he can do it. But he's mostly been a 145, 146, 800-meter runner. His plans were, his father passed away and a few years ago, and he really wanted him to go to college. I think Kadali probably had an opportunity to become a pro athlete after he made his Kenyan Olympic team and ran 142. But his dad really wanted him to go to college. That was a big thing in his family. So, the pursuit for continuing on to college was, still alive. And, we're glad he came to the University of Oregon. And we'll see, what we can do within, especially this first year as he's transitioning and a lot of big changes. We'll see what we kind of can get him to and how he runs. But I think the future, it'll be exciting for him. I think, summer fitness tends to come get a little bit sharper for the middle distance area. If we work throughout the summer, I wouldn't be surprised if he runs low 140 still. He's very talented.
All right, well, Coach, thank you for, thank you. Oh, you got another one?
We don't have to, but it's up to you.
Justin?
No.
Oh, there you go, sorry, yeah.
There's a few greater runners that are performing pretty well for the last 8 months. I was just wondering if you are taking a look at that Avon.
Yeah.
Tostenson and Kitchen.
Yeah, we're definitely talking to all the talent and good kids in the state of Oregon. We are definitely talking with. I'm not sure how much I can say right now about that because,
God, everything else is legal for Pete's sake.
You would think so in the NCAA now, but I got in trouble literally my second day on the job for commenting on a recruit that had not signed with Oregon yet. So I don't know if I can say anything.
Josh Seitz over there, I think you need to blame him. He's in charge of operations.
Seitz, am I allowed to say? Yeah. Okay, he's giving me the no.
Right.
Okay. All right. I could have used that on the second day when I got here,
Come on, Josh. All right, thank you so much, Coach. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, well, we've come to kind of to the real main event here. And we're going to bring up our keynote speakers, and this is going to be a real fun time that we're going to have. Two of the most legendary figures in all of track and field. I'm going to need that other microphone. Thank you. Their accomplishments are so many it would take up the rest of the evening, so I'm just going to bring them up. Ladies and gentlemen, Rudy Chapa and Craig Masbach. I've been looking forward to this for well over a year when I think I first asked you guys to be here. And my first question is, co or Ovette? Which one? Which one? Who do you most identify with?
I had met both of them in '79, and
incredibly impressed with Co, the way he carried himself, obviously his talent. But Ovett was a lot of fun, and he, I think I saw a lot of the way I looked at running through him, and it mattered, but he also liked to have fun, and so Ovett was my favorite.
All right. Craig?
Yeah, I hate.
Oh, we gotta punch up Craig's mic here.
I hate to agree with Rudy, but having raised and lost to both of them,
There we go.
I prefer Steve Ovett, and he was really of the sport. You know, he started as a youth athlete, ran for his local club in Brighton, England. He loved the sport, and he loved to compete. And it was fun for him, just like he made it fun for everybody else. But one of the things I remember most, there was a race we were in Milan, Italy, and it was set up for him to set the world record. And as it turned out, the pacemaker for that evening didn't show up at the starting line. And so there had to be a negotiation between the meet director and John Walker to get Walker to agree to be the pacemaker. And the rest of us were just standing around on the starting line. And it started to sprinkle. It started to rain, which had the race gone off on time, rain wouldn't have been a factor. And Ovett was to my left, and he came off the line and walked over to a kid on my right, who was the only one who nobody knew who this guy was. And it turns out he was a young runner from England whose father knew the meet director. That's how he got in the race. And Ovett walked over to him and said, "Hey, I heard you're going to, set a personal record tonight." He said, "What's your personal record?" He said, 3:42. He said, "You're going to break 3:40 tonight." And then he went back and he got on the line and the race started, and he missed the world record by 1/10 of a second. And the kid ran under 3:40. And, I just thought that was a gesture of who he was. He took the time to come and speak to this other athlete because he kind of related to what that athlete was trying to do in the midst of this chaos, where he was going to try to set a world record.
In April, the IOC will elect a new president. Sebastian Coe is one of the candidates. Thoughts?
Go ahead.
I learned a long time ago that nothing is private. Seb, as Rudy said, Seb is a super talented person, and what he's trying to achieve with this election, I think he saw back in 1979, 1980. 1981, he spoke to the IOC Congress, where he made an impassioned plea to be serious about anti-doping. He saw this path for himself, and if you think about all the things he's done, obviously World Athletics president, before that organizing the 2012 Games, years as in the sports marketing business, several businesses. This is something he's aspired to, and because I love our sport, I hope he wins, because it would be nice to have someone with the background of track and field as the IOC president, which I think could help the sport of track and field for sure. Sounds like it's a tough election. He alienated a lot of people when he awarded prize money at the last games. Other sports didn't like that, and sports are in the voting group. And I would hope that at a point where he's made it to the top, as in IOC president, that he would use his talents also for track and field, because I feel as if in his current role, he's also looking ahead. And they've done a lot of good things to I'll say, rehabilitate the sport after the previous president. But I also hope he could do even more.
Rudy?
No, I'd just say that he's a guy who has proven to have, he's driven, has a vision, works really hard at it. I think helped bring the games to London, did a fantastic job. I think he's done a fine job in athletics, and this is something that he's wanted. And because he is from our sport, I think it will be good for athletics. a part of me would like to see someone that maybe is a little more real. And because when you, a lot of times to play in that world, you have to be a true sportocrat. And so, but you know, I wish him the best. Again, I don't know him well, but the positions he's had, the way he's conducted himself, without controversy, I think he'll do fine. So,
let's talk about another sporting icon that you both know very, very, very well. Phil Knight. So, Rudy, you're very close with Phil. What's he up to these days?
Phil's doing what, you know, he resigned from the Nike board, what, about 5-6 years ago, I think. And he's enjoying life. You know, he's somebody that I admire in terms of just his love for the University of Oregon. I stay often at the Hayward Inn, which looks out at Matthew Knight Arena. I take the same walk when I come to campus and spend the night. And so the room I take looks out at the arena. I walk towards to Agate to cross Franklin. First building I run across is the JAQUA Academic Center. You walk a little further and you get to Agate and 15th, and you look to the left, and there's the Phil Knight's, or the Knight Law School, which is named after his father. You look the other way, and it's Hayward Field. You walk down, same walk I always take, out towards the library, and you can see the education building, and he's supported the School of Education. I don't know the exact dollar amount, but he's given a lot. Then you run into the Knight Library. Again, gave a lot of money. You walk down the Greenway and then come back on 13th, and I think he's close to 50 professorships that he and Penny have sponsored. Go back to Agate, cross back to over Franklin, and there's the Knight campus, which is $1 billion. Okay, and so when I think of Phil, and he has said himself on CBS, he said a few years ago, sitting at Hayward Field, the old Hayward Field, how emotional he can get about being at that place, saying that, you know, in many ways I was born there. And I think that's how he feels. It all started there, and he has said in the past that he wants to give all his money away. And he's doing a pretty good job of it just here at the University of Oregon. But, you know, I think he's given close to $1 billion to OHSU. Yeah, what is he doing now? I think more than anything else, he's giving his money away and enjoying life. And he obviously loves the track program, but he loves all the sports here at the University of Oregon. So.
And Craig, Craig, I know you've been very close with him in discussing the sport of track and field. How does he feel about the direction in which, I mean, obviously he's a big supporter of Tracktown and everything like that, but where's his head at right now about the sport?
Yeah, I'm not close with him in the way that Rudy is. I did have the privilege of working with him towards the end of my Nike career and a little bit afterwards. You know, there is a passion for the sport, and I can think of one moment, which was, you know, this whole community was involved over many, many years doing things that led to the World Track and Field Championships being here. A year later than they were supposed to be, but they finally came. And, you know, all of us who had the chance to go and see some of the World Championships, the performances met and exceeded anything we could have hoped for in this fabulous setting. And on one of the nights, I was, you know, had a chance to sit with him for part of the meet. And, you know, it all came together with that event. Whatever his experience was in the sport, whatever he's done for the sport, whatever he's done for individual athletes and programs, this sort of brought it all together, and it was right here in Eugene and in that stadium. And he took delight in every performance. But of course, most of all, he took delight in the performance of Team USA, which was spectacular at that championships. And he really felt proud for whatever contribution he made to making that happen.
Outside of the Diamond League Eugene meet, the Diamond League meets are now going to Flow Track on a pay tier. And Craig, you and I have spoken about the damage that probably does to our sport, especially the visibility of international. You both have spent a large amount of time thinking media, television, all that space in the promotion of our sport. What are your thoughts about what we need to do to kind of move this sport forward? I know you have some very, very strong thoughts on things I'd love to hear, and I'd love to hear yours too, Rudy.
Craig, you've lived it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the spirit of this evening, right? That everyone can have a part, can play a role in the sport. And I came from a sporting background where I didn't have a community like this involved in the sport, but there was a community of track and field in White Plains, New York, where I grew up. And I personally was surrounded by people, including my father, who by coming to all of my meets, they finally said, well, you're coming to all the meets, why don't you become an official? And he became an official, and then he worked locally, and then regionally, and then sometimes he'd be at the meets in Madison Square Garden when I was running. Unfortunately, I always ran very poorly there, so it was embarrassing for him to be at the finish line. But the greatest strength of our sport is that community. And what I don't think has happened, it didn't happen sufficiently when I was CEO of USA Track and Field. It's not happening now in the U.S., and it's not happening globally, is to take that collective community and send it in a positive direction. And even the changes that are going on in the sport, which is great. It's great that Michael Johnson raised $30 million to do something for the sport. It's great that they had a women's-only track meet last fall. All of these are good things, but they're also indicative of the chaos that reigns in the sport. And I would place this at Seb Coe's feet, which is what should be happening is that you marshal all of the assets that the sport has on a global basis, and you think for the future. And putting the Diamond League meets in the U.S. behind a paywall called Flow Sports, Flow Track, is not in the long-term interest of the sport. You will not have as many people experience the sport. The great high school stars coming through won't be seeing the sport in the way that they should by virtue of that. And that's, my understanding was it was a matter of a small number, hundreds of thousands of dollars was the difference between it going to NBC and Flow Track. And, the sport should have made up that difference. I'm not saying that it was, Flow Track did what they did. They offered more. But the sport should have come in and said it would have been better for everybody to be able to see these events for the future of the sport. But that's just one piece of it.
Rudy.
Well, I'll go with what you said with respect to the paywall and the sport being more available to more people. I'm going to take it in a different direction in terms of what I'd love to see with respect to the sport and how it's promoted. The thing that I think what really grabs people about our sport is that, and you can get this if you're watching 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, all the way through competitors at the Olympic level. And it's so unique to the track and field sport because people are basically, you get to see all of them. They're almost naked these days. Is that when they're competing, when they're really competing, you get to see the human spirit in action in a way that anybody can relate to. Like I said, I've gotten as many joys and as much excitement watching high schoolers or even younger compete because you get to see that drive, that human spirit in a very naked way. And it's beautiful when you see people doing everything they can to get the most out of themselves because they want to compete. And so I know that when I look at where the sport has gone over the last, I'd say, 20, 30 years, so much of it is about records at the highest levels. They create meets, and it's about records and just people come to see that versus one reason why they care so much about the World Championships and the Olympic Games, because it's not records, it's competition.
The only record that matters is that 10,000-meter high school record that we got to keep sacrosanct for Rudy Chapman.
No, but it really is. That's what I think really drives people to our sport. And this is something I talked to you about when you went back to Nike, heading up track and field. I think if I was at Nike in particular, because they do so many of the professional contracts with track and field athletes, I'd totally restructure the contracts that they do with athletes. Strip out a lot of the rankings, strip out a lot of the bonuses that are tied to certain events, championship events, and I would make it about competition. When I think of the time that I spent here at the University of Oregon, back to what you were saying, Jerry, it was people loved coming to watch athletes compete against each other, representing their schools, but seeing competition, whether it's a race is won in 1,500 and 337 or 347. It's about the competition. And if we could get it back to that and put it on television so it was available to everyone, I think, and wean ourselves away from the record and only the record, I think we do more to widen the net to get people more interested in watching the sport.
Can I just comment? I agree, and Jerry, your idea is fantastic. I mean, that is an idea that people should get behind. And you should come out of conference championships, and the regionals should be team-based regional championships, and then come to a national championships. That would be a much better format, much better for the sport. Because I'm not quite as optimistic as you are. I think all the changes that are going on in the sport, and I told you this in June, I'm worried about the cumulative effect of all those things. The day that one SEC team drops track because they could take that $6 million and get a new locker room for their basketball team, they might all drop track at that point. The NCAA is keeping track alive to some extent because you have to sponsor a certain number of teams, and track counts for 3 sports in the way that sponsorship. The NCAA is in a death struggle to survive itself. So they may get rid of the sponsorship rule, and then lots of schools may be incentivized to lose, to get rid of their track teams. And I'll tell you, this community could survive that because this community has the Oregon Track Club. The future of the sport could be community-based teams that go, from kids programs to masters, and then have elite programs after high school. I mean, that may be where we end up in 10, 15, 20 years with track and field when college track and field goes away, because it might. If the professionalization of college sports continues, at some point, teams that are trying to compete and schools that are trying to compete and have football teams and basketball teams are just going to start cutting other teams when they're allowed to. And track and field will, unfortunately, I think, be one of those sports. And even women's track, which sometimes in this analysis people say, oh, that's okay, but women's track will survive. I'm not so sure about that. Because if schools want to have female athletes for Title IX purposes, and the women's rowing team gets alumni to raise a lot of money, that team will survive instead of the women's track team. So that's a pessimistic view for track writ large, but I think an optimistic view for this community, because this community could solve the problem through this club and its history and its dynamism today.
I appreciate the candor that both of you said. What's interesting about Grand Slam track and the $30 million that Bill Ackman has put into it is that that's competition without rabbits, without pacing, but no field events. So Jada Ross can't ply her trade in a Grand Slam track event. And so it would be nice to have a model where it was track and field, not chasing records, not doing all this mishigash, but it is good I guess to some degree that Alexis Ohanian's pumping money, even though he's losing a ton of money on that New York meet, and
But I didn't finish my thought on that, which is,
Yeah.
but there's no coordination.
Right.
So Michael Johnson's 4th track meet is 1 week before pre. So Grant Fisher, who signed up for that, is going to run a 3,000 and a 5,000 a week before the Prefontaine Classic. That's not good for pre. It's not good for him because pre is where he will face the people he'll have to run against at the World Championships and where he could potentially set a record. And unfortunately, they just announced their TV package, which I'm under impressed by, to say the least. They're on the CW network, which gets the ratings that come from dogs stepping on remote control devices. That's not a way to expand your audience. So, this is where the governing body should have stepped in and say, okay, this is great, $30 million, 4 track meets, we love it, but let's coordinate it with the rest of the schedule. That clearly didn't happen.
One of the things I feel like you two have, we're so blessed to have you guys around because you're so astute and smart and you care about the sport. How do we get more of the Chiapas Mazbacks to kind of invest in the sport with their brain power? And how do we aggregate? We had a meeting of the minds, you remember, at Nike. All 3 of us attended back in 1992, and we brought every sector of track and field together, and we had a discussion about where the sport needs to go. Can that happen again?
I don't know, because Nike funded that,
Yes, it
if
did.
you remember.
Yeah, I do.
I think you could have it again, but the only way you'll make progress is they've had different versions of that at different times. It's like every 10 years they try that. I think those folks that are specifically working in the shoe industry, running the promotions departments within each of those companies, have to check their egos at the door and realize that if somehow they could stop thinking about the competition that exists between themselves and think of it in terms of having a collective goal in place to lift the sport, to work together, you could really give the sport a chance to start doing some great things. When you have Nike having a high school national meet and New Balance having a high school national meet, and I forget, there was...
Brooks has a couple.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Adi has one, too.
It's ego masked in beneath, this, just kind of this, no one wants to give in versus just saying, you know what, let's all work together. It really wouldn't be that hard. And compete against each other, but not try to compete against each other by creating division. And it's just silly. It's the silliest thing once you leave the industry, which I did 20-something years ago. I left Nike in 2001. You just sit there and you just kind of shake your head. And, to watch it now take place 24 years later, to when the World Championships were going to be here, and to see the other shoe industry companies say, nah, we're not really going to promote it, because to promote it is to promote Oregon, and to promote Oregon is to promote Nike. It's silly. It's silly, but it's just, I don't know how we get beyond it, because I don't know if there's a big enough parent in the room to get people to all sit down
Adam
and think.
Silver in track and field is what we need.
Yeah. So,
Craig, I know you've had some thoughts about this as well, of course.
Yeah, I'm sorry to go back to this again, but I think what we have here tonight is an example of how that needs to work. Ross's comments, what Ross is doing, what he has invented, what he has grown.
Entrepreneurial.
Yeah, what it shows what is possible within the sport. His comments about Michael, and what Michael is doing, and how Michael is within, in track event promotion is trying to, push things forward, growing off of the traditions of Tom Jordan and others. The officials here have always been the leading part of officials across the country. And this organization in this event tonight has brought all of that together. The youth programs here, which are notable for what they've achieved. And then just the community support. That is what Rudy is saying from a different direction. I will say, Rudy, when I was relatively briefly in the track and field promo job, I reached out to my counterparts. I'd look for ways, because my view was if we grew the sport, everybody would benefit. So why wouldn't we work together on things? And they would do things like tell their athletes they couldn't come to pre, or do things of a nature that undermine the sport, and that was really unfortunate.
Questions for Craig or Rudy that anybody might have? We don't get this very often, so.
You asked ask Rudy about his race in Kenya in 1979. I was there.
How about his collegiate 3,000 meter record that stood forever too?
Yeah.
That just got broken not a couple years ago.
Or a video someone sent me where I was the rabbit in a 5,000 in London, and Rudy made the mistake of following me early and then cratered towards the end of the race. Yeah, that would be.
I have to. All this stuff seems really funny to me because it's such a long time. I don't even remember those days. And I've got to correct you because you brought it up twice. Not correct you, but I have to make a comment on the 10,000.
It was the Drake relays, right?
The Drake relays.
Yeah.
That record only lasts because kids don't run the 10,000 anymore. When you look and see.
Tyrone Gorsey.
One kid in the last however many years. When you look at what's happening.
You're so humble.
No, it's not about being humble. It's about just being a little analytical. When you see what's happened in the 1,500, in the mile, at the high school level, what's happened at the 2 mile, and even at the 5,000, those records have plummeted. It's only because kids aren't running the 10. If they were, my guess is that record would certainly be under 28 minutes if it follows what has happened in these other events. So I wish somebody or a group of kids would challenge themselves and say, we're going to take that record down so I don't have to hear that again. it's
Greg Irwin, that's a legitimate record, isn't it, Greg?
No.
Come on, let's give it up for Rudy. That's a legit record. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if questions. Yeah.
I would love to know from Rudy a favorite memory of a workout when you were running for the Ducks.
Wow. It wouldn't mean anything today because kids are running so much faster. Kids, guys, people. But back in my junior year, when I ran the 737, I had a workout where 3 times 3/4 of a mile. And I went, I think, 3:02, 3 minutes. And that was a big deal back then. I think guys are doing a lot faster.
Simeon, are you doing that? Okay.
Well, yeah.
All right.
No, but a workout that I really wanted to do that I gave my next year, I wanted to do one where I ran 2 miles under 4. And it was a horrible day. Where, one of those spring days in Oregon where the rain is going sideways. And I'll never forget this because I did my first one in 4:08. I think it was a mile jog, and then came back and did 4:10. And this is the truth. This is months before the Olympic trials. I was so upset at myself that I quit. I quit running for like 2 days where I just said, I'm done. That's how mad I was that I didn't get closer to that 4-minute, those 2 4-minute miles. But yes, it's the 3/4 that was the favorite. So, yeah.
Craig has got many yellow Post-its, I think, probably in the thousands of stories that he's wanted to. He's a great writer. Are you going to finish that book about the milers from the days that you ran against them? Because you ran against all the the Coes, the Ovets, the Walkers, the Scotts, everybody. Are you going to finally write that book?
Yeah, I never beat any of them. That's well, Walker I beat a couple of times. In 1984, in January, I think, Track and Field News ran a story about the upcoming Olympic trials that would qualify for the Los Angeles Olympics, about the mile and 1,500 meters, and it did head-to-head matchups in careers. My head-to-head against Christina Aragon's father, for example, I was 3-2 against him. I was 4-3 against Sidney Marie. But Steve Scott was 43-0 against me. So we ran against one another a lot. But the way I look at the book, which yes, I am working on, is I had a perfect view of all of them. I could see them ahead of me. In fact, for those of you that have been to the Nike campus, there's a Sebastian Coe building. And outside in the courtyard of the building, there is a sculpture done by, I believe, a South African artist. And it's sort of a stop-action film look. It's in metal, and it's a complete set of strides of him running. And when the building was dedicated, we had Seb Coe there, and I was standing with Phil Knight, and he said, "Does this really look like Seb Coe's form?" Because it's just a series of strides. And I walked behind the statue, and I looked at it, I said, "Yes, it absolutely does." Yeah.
See, these are the kinds of stories we've got to get them to finish the book. Other questions for these? Yes.
You were there when Nike created them, and you were involved in getting them approved. So.
Yeah, that's true. So, when the first shoe came out, one of my roles at Nike was in compliance. It's called compliance. I was our representative to an international organization, which each shoe company theoretically had one person on a panel, and we met with the IOC, FIFA, and World Athletics. And there was a meeting that was going to be held with World Athletics, and I just thought it was a regular meeting. I was actually considering not going. I decided in the end to go. It was in Monaco. And I got there, and...
Well, that was good incentive enough.
Yeah, right. And the Adidas had 4 people, Puma had 4 people, Asics had 2 people. And what I didn't realize, they were there to try to ban our shoes. And, there were some tough moments. The guy from Adidas, I won't try to do a German accent, but he at one point gave this impassioned speech, and he said, "Nike is trying to help athletes run faster." And I said, "Please say that again." And remarkably, he did. "Nike is trying to make athletes run faster." And I said, I never met Adi Dassler, but I bet he's turning over in his grave right now. But we literally, the shoes survived by 1 vote. I mean, that's how close it came. And then we were able to negotiate for, some parameters. They wanted to have some rules, and all of our shoes fit within those parameters. I mean, personally, I think it's great. The sport has always improved. If you get a chance to go to the Nike campus, Roger Bannister's shoe that he wore when he ran the first 4-minute mile is in a showcase there. You can see it. There's no chance I could have broken 4 minutes in that shoe on a cinder track, right? So progress is what our sport is all about. If the tracks are faster, which I hope they are, and if the shoes are better, and Simeon runs 3:47 this year, that's great. That's great for the sport. And the fact that my times become increasingly irrelevant means nothing. It doesn't matter. I did okay at my time, and I was happy with that. But my shoes were better than Bill Dellinger's shoes were, or Roger Bannister's, or anybody else's. And progress is good. And what's interesting in that, back to the first story, literally every other shoe company was lined up against us, and within a year, they were back at the same meeting arguing to get rid of the rules because they had caught up. They had invented their own shoe, which is the way the sport always was. That our sport is competitive and the shoe industry was competitive. And that's the way it should have been.
I think if new technology helps grow the sport, I'm fine with it. That's it. I don't have an opinion beyond that. Has it? I don't know. But I'm all about making the sport more relevant to more people. And if it helps, I'm for it. So, yeah.
Very good. I can't thank you guys enough for making the trip down to Portland. I think everybody here benefited from this greatly, and thank you for your generosity.
I have one thing to say to this group. I don't know who knows this here, but 62 years ago, yesterday, something started here that ended up really taking hold throughout the whole world. And it was because of people like yourselves. And Bowerman had been in New Zealand with Lydiard, right. And he learned the whole idea of jogging. And he came back and spoke to a register guard writer and told him all about it. And that writer ended up writing a story saying that Bowerman would welcome people if they wanted to come out and hear about this, concept of jogging. And it was Feb 3rd of 1963. And it always killed me that Nike didn't celebrate that moment. And maybe that's something you guys could do here
You're right.
At Oregon Track Club, because it's a day that should be owned by here in Eugene. But yeah, 12 people, I think, 24 people or so showed up that first weekend. The next weekend, there were, I think, about 36 to 50. The next week, there were 200. Then the Eugene writer had heard that Life magazine wanted to send a photographer out because they wanted to see what these people were doing. 1 month after that first weekend, they didn't know, it was somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 people showed up to Hayward Field to run sides and walk, the curves, and to learn about this concept of jogging. And it became a jogging revolution that swept across the country and swept across the globe. And it started here. And it would not have taken off but for people like yourselves. People that come and help and contribute, take your own time to just do good for a community. And I know, people always ask me what I cared more about when I was here. And yes, I love my teammates, loved my coaches. The fans were the greatest fans in the world. But the people that I admired most were the people that showed up there and allowed us to have these events. They're the people that were there, and for the most part, they do it for a rain jacket for an entire year. And it's you guys. It's you guys. When I showed up, I walked up and I saw you, and I'm like, my gosh, this is so wonderful to see all of you here celebrating, your yearly, your annual event. And it's what makes this place so special. And yeah, do something with that February 3rd date of 1963, because
Done.
you started something here and it still lives and it should be celebrated. So, thank you.
Hey, how about these guys? Rudy Chapa, Craig Masbach. Come on. Yeah. Thank you. That was inspirational. Yeah, thank you. We have two other things to do. We're going to get you out of here really soon, within 3 or 4 minutes. Yeah, my wife's even looking at her watch. I want to do a couple of introductions here. Nike has changed the structure of its professional group, and here in Eugene, they will be running under the banner of the Oregon Track Club. And what that means is that Jerry, Schumacher, Shalane, and the pro athletes will transition to OTC over the next year. And I'd like to introduce those that are here and I'd like them to stand up. Kaylee Mitchell. Kaylee Mitchell went to Oregon State. 9:14:05 steeplechaser, 5th at the U.S. Olympic Trials, NCAA West Regional champion in 22 and 23 in cross country. Kaylee Mitchell. Duncan Hamilton, stand up please. Duncan is the second fastest collegiate steeplechaser of all time, only behind Henry Rono, whose record has lasted almost as long as Rudy Chiappa's, 1978. But Duncan is the second fastest collegiate steeplechaser ever at Montana State, went 8:16:23, was second in the NCAA in the steeple in 2023 and 2022. Thank you, Duncan. Speaking of steeplechase, this guy is the steeplechase of this country. You know who I'm talking about. Evan Jager, ladies and gentlemen. The American record holder at 8:00:45. He has 9 of the top 10 performances in U.S. history in the steeplechase. Evan Jager, silver medal, 2016 Olympic Games, bronze medal, 2017 World Championships. Evan Jager. Justin Knight, a 12:51 5,000-meter runner. He's the indoor Canadian national record holder at 1,500 meters at 3:36:13, 7th in the Olympic Games in the 5,000 meters in 2021, a 9-time ACC champion, 2nd in the NCAA in the 5,000 meters, Justin Knight. Christina Aragon. We know her dad, Chuck Aragon, one of the greats that Craig Masbach ran against and had a winning record against. 4:04:44 in the 1,500, 4:27:74 in the mile, 3rd in the 2016 World Under-20 1,500-meter championships, 3rd in the NCAA 1,500 in 2022, competing for Stanford University, Christina Aragon. All right, we have raffle winners. And we are going to now get those raffle winners, and then we are going to get you guys out of here, okay? And we really appreciate you spending as much time.
So that's the description. You draw one. I'm going to bring the next
Okay, great. So the description is let's go fishing, and who doesn't like going fishing? This raffle item is a fishing trip with local guide Larry Phipps with Native Sun River Tours. Larry grew up in the Mohawk Valley, yada, yada, yada. The winner of this great fishing expedition, don't leave yet, ticket number 53691-184. -184. Who is -184? Do we have a winner? All right, come on up. All right, this cutting board, this bespoke cutting board. Okay, donated by Jennifer and Scott Touche. Boy, is that a wonderful item. Larry, congratulations.
Oh, you're going to give it back to me?
Oh, you know what? Danny's going to take care of you. Okay. Cutting board. The winner of the cutting board is ticket 53691-160-160. Hey, Bill Kelly. Wow.
I need 2 more of those, or 3 more of those. You got 4, so 4 winners on this one.
Oh, 4 winners. So 4 winners. I'm sorry, Danny. Okay, also winning the cutting board, 53691-154, cutting board. Oh, well, we'll have to hold on to that one. Okay. 53691-161. Look at those tickets, everybody. Good God Almighty, what are they missing? You have 161? You've won 2 cutting boards. Okay. What's better than 1 cutting board? 2 cutting boards. All right, and then 53691-153. -153. Oh, here's the other winner. Okay. Okay. All right. Hey, we got a 153 here. This gentleman right here, thank you. All right. Now, Jill Messler with Windermere Real Estate, a big supporter of OTC and her whole family. This is a themed basket to welcome home any new home buyer into their forever home. And that is 53691-039. -039. Who's got it? All right. Congratulations. right, we got that one. This gentleman right here.
Excellent.
All right.
One is-
Hayward Field Photograph, Sandy Pashkin from 2008. The winner is 53691-167. -167. We got a winner. All right. Okay, this is the Kathy Toomey Bellamy Sylvan Ridge Winery, and we know it's got to be good because Kathy Toomey Bellamy's on the name. 53691-195. We got a winner over here. Down here. All right. Sorry, Danny.
No, you're good.
Okay. All right, now this is a really big one here. This is the Prefontaine Classic 50th year anniversary raffle basket. This is a really good one. 53691-090. All right. Come on down. Okay.
And last one.
And we got one more. One more.
OTC basket.
OTC basket. This is a really sweet item. 53691-192. 53691 to OTC. Do we have a winner? Oh, great. Thank you. Okay.
Nice.
And that's it.
Molly. That's it.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for supporting track and field in our community. Thank you.